More than 1,000 Avista customers had their power shut off yesterday as part of a new program to fight wildfires. Why we could see more of these outages.
We're chilly each and every morning, but every afternoon brings about some serious warmth.
We're taking this day by day. We're looking at every possible avenue we can. We want to retain these employees.
Dozens of layoffs could be coming to Spokane city workers. We are live with what we have uncovered.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM News at 5. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
It's good to have you here. I'm Whitney Ward. A surprise power outage happened yesterday for about 1,500 Avista Utilities customers, and it may not be the last time it happens.
The company says it's how they are helping mitigate fire danger, but many customers are questioning why they only had day of notice. Our reporter Regan Gallo set out to get some answers. Regan?
Yeah, so Sunday morning, customers of Avista either got a phone call in the morning or they received the social media post later on saying there was going to be a public power outage. Now, this left customers without power starting at 2 p.m. in the afternoon all the way till 10 and 11 p.m. later in the day. Avista claimed in its messaging this was to mitigate fire risk as high winds were expected. However, some customers felt the power outage was not needed. Robert Archer was one of those from North Indian Trail.
I just don't feel like the communication was very solid when we get two automatic things and on their website it says just please be patient. And I look around and there wasn't a cloud in the sky and it was not that windy and my power was off.
Avista told us this precaution was part of its wildfire resiliency program that was implemented in 2020. But the decision to use planned outages was announced earlier this year. Advanced modeling software identified a circuit that had critical risk.
There was one circuit that we identified had critical risk, and that was the circuit that we implemented Avista's first ever public safety power shutoff, which is a proactive de-energization of a circuit due to very extreme conditions. We do not take public safety power shutoffs lightly. We understand the critical nature of the service we're providing our communities. And
for customers wondering why the shutoff was so sudden and why they were not given earlier notice, Avista says when weather conditions change rapidly, they must react cautiously, especially when fire risk is high. Only certain areas experienced the outage because one circuit was in critical risk. So Avista encourages that people keep their cell phone numbers with their account up to date as soon as possible. So when this happens again, the company can ensure that they can give a heads up notice. I'm right here in North Spokane. Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
All right, Regan, thank you very much. Brand new tonight at 5 o'clock, some sad news from the world of sports. Baseball legend Pete Rose has died.
Rose was 83 years old. He passed away earlier today.
Rose was one of the greatest baseball players ever, winning 3 World Series and 17 All-Star Game spots.
He was banned from the Baseball Hall of Fame, though, for gambling. Tonight, Verizon says service is slowly coming back following a massive outage that impacted customers for most of the day.
But customers across the U.S. are still reporting problems accessing the company's network. Some phones are limited to SOS service only. The outages were reported from coast to coast today, including right here in the inland Northwest. Verizon has not said much about what's causing the outage.
The company says it is actively working to fix the problem right now for all customers.
All right, let's take a break from the headlines to talk weather right now. Much calmer day today after wind and blowing dust pushed through over the weekend.
So Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo is standing by with just how the work week is shaping up. And Jeremy, you did say there is more wind in the forecast.
Yeah, it looks like Wednesday winds up a little bit breezy, but emphasis on breezy. We're just going to knock that wind back a little from what we saw over the weekend and definitely from what we saw a week ago from Wednesday. Last night was cold. This morning, brutal. 35 degrees here in Spokane, 25 in Deer Park, and 33 over in Coeur d'Alene. Widespread temperatures down at or below freezing. But get this, next few days wind up a little bit warmer. For reference, here in Spokane, our average first freeze date is September 16th. You run that all the way back to when we started keeping records, that all moves back to September 10th. Pretty interesting if you do so. But the 16th is just the past 30 years. Tomorrow, we're a little bit warmer. We fall down to about 39 degrees here in town, 32 in Deer Park, 39 over in Coeur d'Alene, and widespread near 40 across much of the region. Our overall weather pattern really depends on what happens with a storm in the Gulf of Alaska. That storm is eventually going to turn toward us. What that turn does is brings about the shift in the overall weather pattern. We will first start to see a little bit of cloud cover tomorrow morning. It moves out, we have a sunny afternoon, wind picks up Tuesday night, and then we head into a little bit of a breezy Wednesday. So wind will pick up starting Tuesday night, take us through a breezy Wednesday that winds up a bit cooler. So really it's a Tuesday night to Wednesday, but temperatures fall back to the 60s, then overnights in the 30s.
Good, Jeremy. We'll check back in with you later in the show. More than 24 City of Spokane employees on notice today. They could lose their jobs if the city's budget situation doesn't improve.
Today, KREM 2 Chief Journalist Amanda Rowley pressed the mayor's office for details on who would be impacted. She's live right now from Spokane City Hall with what she found out. Amanda?
Well, this is the City of Spokane's first announcement regarding layoffs as it works to address its $50 million deficit it's projecting for next year's budget. Now, the city is estimating with these 29 potential layoffs on the table, the city could save about $3.4 million.
29 Spokane City employee jobs are at stake. The city issued layoff notices last week as it searches for ways to dig out of the $50 million deficit for next year's budget. That total includes a $25 million deficit in the general fund, which pays for things like the city's police and fire departments. With 29 potential layoffs on the table, the city says that would save roughly $3.4 million. That amount, combined with previous cost-cutting measures, would drop the general fund deficit from $25 to roughly $7.5 million.
Is there more to come? No, not to my knowledge. The idea at this point is that 29 is where we have settled for this year.
City spokesperson Aaron Hutt says a final decision with the layoffs depend on the outcome of current union negotiations, the proposed community safety sales tax, and the final budget, which City Council is scheduled to pass at the end of the year.
We've had a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions about it. Again, I don't know that we have any magic bullets or anything like that. A lot of this is going to depend a bit on, some of the things that the administration is doing and only they can do, like the union negotiations and things like that.
Meantime, Mayor Lisa Brown's preliminary budget proposal, which could include the 29 layoffs, isn't due until November.
Why now? Why make those notices now when there's still so much time left?
It's, out of fairness to our employees who are impacted. We didn't want it to be a situation where we said in November, right ahead of the holiday season, hey, you're in a situation that you could potentially be laid off.
Now, all 29 city employees who could be laid off are in union positions. The city says the departments that will be most impacted are accounting, criminal justice, and IT. Reporting from Spokane City Hall, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Well, also a developing story in Moses Lake where the school district is warning parents about potential school bus cancellations.
In a note posted online, the district said, quote, because of a driver shortage, they have reached a point where they may need to temporarily cancel bus routes. The district says it'll assess the transportation situation each morning and let parents know by 5:30 a.m. if their student's route is canceled for the day. The cancellations will not impact special education routes. You might recall the Moses Lake School District was forced to lay off dozens of staff positions before the start of this school year after discovering an $11 million budget error.
All right, we have a lot more news still to come here on KREM 2 News at 5, including a court appearance by a local woman accused of murder in the case of a missing man.
Plus, we are taking a look at the unbelievable damage left behind in the south after Helene. That death toll continues to rise.